You know, Laura, a lot of people ask me why I get so emotional when I do Fox News and why I scream at members of Congress. Because I've seen so much tragedy. I've talked to hundreds of angels and moms and dads who buried their children because they're killed by illegal aliens. This is the latest. You know, I've talked to little girls as young as 9 years old that were raped multiple times by members of cartel. When you look in her eyes and everything innocent and pure has been ripped from her soul, and her life will never be the same. I mean, it's just, I'm tired of it. And the government failed the Lake and Riley family. Not only, if President Trump was president, he'd be sitting in Mexico in the Remain in Mexico program. And if he did get to New York and he was arrested for injury to a child in New York, I used to be able to arrest him because the priorities under Trump were if you're in the country illegally, you're a target. But because Secretary Mayorkas put the priorities so low, even the injury to the child didn't meet the standards, so ICE could even place a detainer on him. So this is purely, it could have been prevented. This young lady's dead, and I want every mayor, every governor of a sanctuary jurisdiction to listen to that tape, listen to this young girl fight for her life, fight for her breath, trying to survive, terrified. Think of I want you to understand what she went through. Like the 9-year-old boy, the 5-year-old boy in the back of the tractor trailer that I held, I found him dead, that baked to death. I thought about what the last hour of his life was like. You need to listen to this tape. And for those governors and mayors who are saying they're going to stop Tom Homan, they're going to stop President Trump, shame on you. Your responsibility is to protect your communities, and that's what we want to do, is protect your community.
President-elect Donald Trump's new border, Tsar Tom Homan, is putting together an extensive deportation plan for when he hits the ground running after they are both sworn to office in January. Homan spoke to the Center Square about his priorities, illustrating a marked difference from President Joe Biden's border czar, Vice President Kamala Harris, who repeatedly said the border was secure and she didn't need to go to there. Under the Biden-Harris administration, the greatest number of illegal border crossers, roughly 14 million, were reported in EU-US history, the Center Square reported. The overarching theme, Homan said, is millions of people entered this country illegally, which is a crime. The Biden administration argued illegal border crossers have a right to claim asylum and to go before an immigration judge, he said. We gave them that opportunity to see a judge. But we know, based on immigration court data, that nearly 9 out of 10 of them will get an order for removal because they simply don't qualify for asylum. The fact that millions of people illegally entered the US and 9 out of 10 are ordered to be removed necessitates a mass deportation operation, he said. Are these dirty words? No. On the end of historic mass illegal immigration with 9 out of 10 getting orders for removal, there has to be a mass deportation program. The only other option is to let them stay, which nullifies immigration law and the immigration court system, he argued. It also sends a message to the entire world that you can enter this country illegally, and you can go to court and lose your case, and you're still not going to go home, he said. We'll never solve the southwest border crisis like that. So you know what? You can't demand due process and not accept the end result. Department of Homeland's Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas himself has testified numerous times before Congress that for those who don't qualify for asylum, they'd be removed. Well, guess what? It's time to do the removal part. Removal priorities. The removal process will prioritize individuals based on their threat to society, he said. The priorities will focus on public safety threats, national security threats and fugitives, those who got due process at great taxpayer expense, and the federal judge ordered them removed, but they didn't leave, and they became a fugitive. Individuals who are on the federal terrorist watch list and special interest aliens, those from countries of foreign concern, are all priorities, he said. We'll work very closely with the FBI and intelligence community to identify and find them, he said. We know a record number of people on the terrorist watch list have crossed the border, he said. Homan has long warned that the border crisis created the greatest national security threat since 9/11. Within the last year alone, numerous officials issued imminent terrorist attack warnings, and Biden extended multiple national emergency orders due to ongoing terror threats since 9/11. Under his watch, the greatest number of known or suspected terrorists were apprehended, with the majority caught at the northern border, the Center Square reported. Under the Biden administration, more than 660,000 criminal foreign nationals were recently identified to be deported by ICE, including 435,719 convicted criminals, the Center Square reported. ICE agents arrested more than 387,000 criminals in fiscal years 2021 through 2023. The Center Square reported the majority were citizens of Mexico, Nicaragua, Colombia and Venezuela, finding and removing millions of CIAs, those from Cough-Heart, criminals released into the US, through the Sheriff Parole program, including members of a violent Venezuelan prison gang, and those identified in national security cases will last us for a long time, Homan said. Us military role. The US military will assist in Trump's deportation efforts, Homan said. Title 8 Enforcement Authority will remain with federal agents from U.S. Border Patrol, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and Department of Homeland Security investigations. The military will provide air and ground transportation assistance, work on construction building and intelligence targeting, he said. They can do all kinds of things that don't require immigration authority, he said. Those with immigration authority like HSI agents and ICE agents, deportation officers. He also pointed out that the DOD has been used in every administration to help with the border. We're just going to expand that enforcement to help with non-law enforcement duties. However, no one's off the table, he said. If you're in the country illegally, you got a problem. He's previously warned the millions of the illegal aliens that Joe Biden released in our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now, because you are going home.
Yes, I held a 5-year-old boy in my arms in back of that tractor trailer. I knelt down beside him and said a prayer for him, because I knew what his last 30 minutes of his life were like. And I had a 5-year-old son at the time. What I've been trying to do my 34 years serving my nation is to save lives. So for you to sit there and insult my integrity and my love for my country and for children, that's why this whole thing needs to be fixed.
We know that there were decapitations of babies, of innocent Israeli citizens, of seniors, of women. There were rapes, and yet Colombia hired this individual.
Biden's budget's bad for American families. We already know we have $30 trillion worth of debt. Under his budget, the debt will increase over the next 10 years, $14.4 trillion, which is over $100,000 per family.
That's what that is.
But RFK is going to be very, I think he's a great guy.
I love the fact that you guys teamed up.
Yeah.
And are you completely committed to have him a part of your administration?
Oh, I am.
And this is a tribute in honor of Bobby. I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts.